This is the Acura ILX and represents a new trend, a growing trend among luxury brands. They're offering these compact cars and subcompact cars into the luxury segment. It's designed to get younger people into the brand, people who can't afford the $50,000 cars. And so what we have here essentially is a rebadged Civic. And I'm going to keep going back to that because this car just feels very, very familiar. The familiarity of the ILX with the Civic starts up front with the engine. Every single engine is pretty much identical to the Civic counterpart. For example, this is the base engine, which is a 2-liter, 4-cylinder VTEC engine. This one produces 150 horsepower, a little bit uptick from the Civic base engine. If you're looking for something a little sportier, you may opt for the 2.4-liter engine that produces 201 horsepower, which is essentially the same engine in the Civic Si. And last but not least, there is also an ILX hybrid, which has the exact same powertrain as the Civic hybrid. Having spent a week with the ILX, I could tell you that I cannot make heads or tails of this vehicle. It's at least a $5,000 premium from its Civic counterpart. It drives about the same. It doesn't feel premium other than some extra gadgets, some nicer seats, some nicer interior materials, but overall, it's still a Civic. So if you want to save the world and not make such a big carbon footprint, just go get a Civic. You don't need to spend the extra $5,000 on an ILX, which is not even getting very good fuel economy. This is the base model, and we were lucky to get 22 miles to the gallon. Now, to get the good fuel economy that they're promoting in the, in the mid-30s, you really got to baby this thing, and I got to tell you, it just doesn't have the power to weight ratio. It certainly doesn't have a lot of power. This car has 150 horsepower and it really needs more. So the base engine is not very impressive. The hybrid and the SI or the sport models, they're fine, but they're not cheap. Those are starting at over $30,000. This is the entry-level car, around $26,000, and it just doesn't quite cut it. I've had full car, basically 4 people and some gear in the back, and it's a struggle to get on the freeway. 0 to 60 with that much of a load, you're looking at over 10 seconds. As far as just overall feel, it's fine. This is a premium commuter car. Not a car I'd want to take on long trips. The seats are extremely comfortable. I think that's one of the distinctions you would get by spending the extra money for the ILX over the Civic. And of course, the controls are much nicer. The navigation screen is a better. Just going back to what I started from the beginning, which is I just don't know if I could justify spending the extra money. But if the Acura brand's important to you, the special attention you would get at the dealership, the extra warranty, 4-year, 50,000 miles versus 336. If all those things are important to you and you can justify it, go for it. Another distinction with the ILX over the Civic Si is that it's significantly quieter. Again, that's what you expect in a premium car. More insulation, more sound deadening, better sound system, all those things that you would expect you're going to get. So I don't want to belittle the fact that this is just a rebadged Civic. I mean, they did some significant engineering to enhance it, but at the end of the day, it has all the internal guts of the Civic. Another thing about the ILX is that all the models come with paddle shifters. I mean, really, 150 horsepower, do you really need paddle shifters? I mean, they're nice to have, but I just don't see people using them. I think there should be a rule. You should have at least 200 horsepower to get paddle shifters. No car should come with paddle shifters under 200 horsepower. The ILX is available in essentially 6 different trim levels. What we have here is the base engine, which is available as a base model, premium, or with technology package. Starting price $26,000. As seen here with technology, you're going to run close to $33,000. Finally, the hybrid is equipped with a CVT, which is what you would expect with a hybrid, and it does quite nicely. So, as mentioned, not just myself, but a lot of my counterparts who have driven this car just kind of felt the same way, that it just was too much money for the car. I think if it was priced less, I think the Acura brand maybe warrants a $2,000 or $3,000 premium price, but not a $5,000 or $6,000.